Welcome to today's explainer. Look, before we even jump in, I just want you to take a deep breath right now. Just settle in and let the noise of the day kind of fade out for a second. Today, we're diving into this incredibly powerful piece titled Beyond Fatigue, Breaking the Silent Cycle of Isolation. And I want to set the stage here because I'm hoping this is going to be a deeply personal and honestly deeply validating realization for you. Because, so many of us are just walking around carrying this heavy, invisible weight, wondering why it is just so incredibly hard to keep moving forward. So we're going to explore this hidden truth about feeling stuck. My goal with this explainer? Simple. Clarity, comfort, and ultimately, a real way forward. I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not lazy. Seriously, just let that sink in. Because how often do you tell yourself the exact opposite? Right? Think about that internal monologue running through your head at the end of a long, quote-unquote, unproductive day. Think about how often that harsh, negative self-talk just entirely takes over when you can't seem to move forward. It tells you, you're not trying hard enough or you just lack discipline. Well, I want you to shatter that thought right now. It is a complete lie. The actual truth, and our source material points this out so powerfully, is this. You're just tired. And look, we aren't talking about a simple lack of sleep here, right? A quick nap isn't going to fix this. We're talking about a much deeper, heavier emotional exhaustion. It's like a soul-deep fatigue. You're tired of trying. You're tired of putting on a brave face and pretending everything is perfectly fine when it absolutely isn't. And most of all, you are tired of doing everything completely alone. Society rarely talks about this reality openly, but it's the absolute foundation of what we're breaking down today. Which brings us to part one, the silent struggle. See, we really need to look at this massive paradox of our modern age. We live in a world that is supposedly more connected than at any other point in human history. Yet somehow, the data, the research, the personal accounts, they all point to the exact same heartbreaking conclusion. People feel more profoundly alone than ever before. This hyperconnectivity, it's just a mask. It's hiding a deep, quiet isolation that's literally wearing us all down. And the reason that mask is so incredibly convincing is because of the stark contrast in our daily lives. Think about what you see when you scroll all day. Smiling faces, people winning, people living these highly curated, absolutely flawless lives. It genuinely looks like everyone else has it all figured out. But then, there's the reality of what you actually feel, sitting alone in the quiet of your room. Empty, alone, exhausted. There's this massive, painful disconnect between the vibrant digital world we consume and the hollow reality we actually experience behind closed doors. And living in that gap, man, it takes a massive toll on your spirit. So let's transition into part two, why you feel this way. What's truly reassuring about the research we're exploring here is the immediate comfort it offers. It tells us that this empty, heavy feeling doesn't exist because you're weak. It doesn't exist because you're flawed. It exists simply because you're human. Historically, biologically, we are entirely social creatures. We lived in tribes. We shared our burdens. We are literally not built to survive, let alone thrive, entirely without each other. But the modern world doesn't operate on that biological reality, does it? We've basically traded communal support for extreme individualism. Instead of offering a village, today's society feeds us these constant, cold messages. Handle it yourself. It's this hyper-independent demand forced onto us from the second we reach adulthood, expecting us to carry our heaviest emotional burdens in total, utter silence. And it certainly doesn't stop there. We also hear this one constantly. Figure it out. When these are the persistent, heavy messages being broadcast at us from our jobs, our social feeds, sometimes even our closest peers, the result is completely tragically predictable. When you are constantly told that needing help is a burden, well, you stop asking. These societal expectations slowly but surely push us to withdraw, to retreat inward, and to completely isolate ourselves. And then there's the ultimate mandate. Don't depend on anyone. It's pitched to us as strength, right? As resilience. But the reality is so different. When you truly believe you must be entirely self-reliant to survive in this world, you end up carrying a crushing, lonely weight. You start isolating yourself just to hide the fact that you're struggling to keep up with an entirely impossible standard. You build walls so no one can see that you're barely keeping your head above water. And that leads us directly to part three, the dangerous loop. In this explainer, this is absolutely the most crucial mechanism we're going to loop at. We're mapping out a quiet but incredibly powerful downward spiral here. This is the exact psychological trap that catches so many of us in deep, paralyzing mental exhaustion. And understanding how this loop operates, that is the first essential step to escaping it. This loop maps out the exact psychology of feeling stuck. It's a human story that millions are living every single day. It starts with isolation. The more alone you feel, the more disconnected you are from your support system, the less energy you have. Your emotional reserves just drain away. And because you have less energy, you inevitably fall into inaction. You naturally do less. You put off tasks. You cancel plans. You hide. And the result of doing less? You feel immense guilt. You beat yourself up for not being productive. That compounding guilt is the trap. It acts as the ultimate trigger to make you feel even worse, which circles right back to the top, draining even more energy, pushing you further into isolation. It becomes this endless, quiet, incredibly powerful loop that slowly breaks your spirit. But we need to shatter that loop today. Let's move to part 4, the real truth. If you're listening to this and realizing you are stuck deep in that cycle, I want to reframe your perceived failure right now with absolute empathy. You are not failing, you are surviving. As the source material definitively states, you're not lazy, you're just incredibly painfully overwhelmed. Let's look at exactly why. You're carrying entirely too much weight. Maybe it's overwhelming financial stress, crushing career pressure, family obligations, or deeply personal grief. And you're doing it without any support. Worst of all, it's a struggle no one sees. I want to validate this for you right now. When no one sees your struggle and you have zero support network to help distribute the emotional load, that invisible weight becomes impossibly heavy. You aren't breaking. It's just the simple mechanics of human endurance. Anyone would buckle under that weight. But here is where we pivot. Part 5, the shift. I want you to feel a real sense of warmth and gentle hope as we look at this next phase. Because the absolute best truth you will hear today is that you do not have to fix everything at once. Seriously, take a deep breath and just let go of the pressure. You don't have to overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. You don't have to suddenly become a completely different person to find your way out of the dark. Instead, our source breaks down the overwhelming path to feeling better into tiny, manageable micro-actions. You don't need some grand plan. Take just one step. Do just one action. Make just one connection. That is literally it. You start incredibly small. Because by taking just one tiny action, you interrupt the guilt. You prove to yourself that movement is possible, and you gently put a stick in the spokes of that dangerous loop we looked at earlier. You simply take the very next step. Which leads us perfectly into part 6, breaking the cycle. We're moving the narrative now from deep introspection to gentle, actionable empowerment. It is time to start safely moving outward again. And here's exactly how you do it, based on the insights we've explored. Reach out. Just send a text. Talk to someone, anyone, about anything. Build something small, even if it's just making your bed or going for a 5-minute walk. Take action, even if it feels incredibly uncomfortable at first. And look, taking that action is hard, yes, but the pain of staying stuck in that silent, isolating loop is ultimately much, much worse than the temporary discomfort of reaching out to another human being. Your healing is on the other side of that tiny moment of discomfort. Before we close out this explainer, we really need to arrive at our final, most important realization. Part 7, you are not broken. This is the emotional crescendo of everything we've explored today. It's a profound reminder of your inherent worth and our shared human experience. I want you to really let this truth sink in. You are not behind, you are not broken, you're just human. Take a second and just breathe that in. In a world that constantly measures, grades, and ranks us against heavily edited, totally unrealistic digital avatars, simply being a tired human is perfectly okay. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be exhausted. You are exactly where you need to be. Which brings us to this final provocative thought. Even if it feels like you're entirely alone in the quiet of your struggles, are you really the only one feeling this way? The societal trends, the deep dive we just did into the mechanics of modern isolation, they all point to one resounding, comforting answer. No. Millions of people share this exact hidden pain, meaning you truly are not isolated in this struggle. The grand paradox is that we are all feeling alone together. Knowing you aren't the only one, that can be the spark that changes everything. If going through this explainer today made you feel understood, if it lifted even a fraction of that invisible weight and made you feel a little less isolated, then take one small action right now. Subscribe to GS Daily Motivation. Because sometimes just getting the right message at the exact right time can change absolutely everything. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you're just human, and taking just one small step is all you need to do next. Be kind to yourself today.